Welcome back to the Upper Tier Podcast, the football podcast we bring you each and every week on the Dynamo Podcast Network. Head over to YouTube, smash that subscribe and bell notification button. Audio versions of the show are also available on Anchor, so if you prefer them, that's where you'll find them. We're also available if you want to contact the show. You'll find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And joining me today, an OG on the show at this stage, Craig Byrne. Craig, how you doing, my man?
Oh, good, Noel. How are you?
Good, not a bother at all. Interesting. This is our Champions League semi-final preview. You rocking that good Barca shirt, the resurgence of Barca again. A bit too late in the season, but however. Let's have a quick chat about this. I mean, Chelsea were playing there at the weekend again, won, but kind of very lackluster. Just did enough to get the job done. Obviously had one eye on the semi-final. Man City yesterday in the Carabao Cup, very similar again. Spurs were absolutely deplorable, but Man City again didn't look much better. Just workmanship, got the goal that they needed, never was in doubt really. Spurs never looked like scoring, and they just coasted through the game again. One eye on the semi-final. Let's start with the first one: PSG versus Man City. What you thinking on that one?
Very intriguing tie. Both of them, in their own respect, are always seem to be one short of going all the way. PSG obviously had that final. PSG had to beat Man City in competition. One draw, one loss, 2-2 and a 1-0. Don't think that really has any, impact on this game at all. It's a new season. It's a new leg, I think PSG now, from what I've seen of them before, is they have a bit of bottle about them. Now, saying that Bayern Munich were missing Lewandowski, what could have been, we don't know. You can't just assume that if he was playing, he would have been, but it would have been more of a threat. But I really don't get Neymar at all because he's so talented, but he's so frustrating at the same time. He has all the talent in the world, but his carry-on, exceeds that, and his behaviour exceeds his talent at times. If he actually just got down together and played like what they did to Bayern Munich, if they actually work together and cohese as a unit, they're very, 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 very dangerous. On the flip, you have Manchester City, though, who are, that's the holy grail for them. It's yet to be done. Is this the time to do it? Is there a better time to do it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm looking at PSG this year, and they kind of remind me of ourselves. The way we bounced back from the loss in the final, and we just had a single push mind to win the Champions League again the following year. And PSG is very like that this year. Although Lewandowski was missing for Bayern Munich, PSG just looked so up for that match or those set of toys. It just looked like there was only going to be one winner, you know what I mean? They look like they are singularly focused on getting the job done this year. Man City again this year have been impressive without being flattering, if you like, because they just kind of they've gone about their business in a workmanship type of way, and they've got through games, they've racked up wins, but how many teams this year can you remember that Man City have gone out and absolutely destroyed?
It's just been enough.
Yeah, it's always just been enough. Like they're keeping a little bit in reserve, and it's a kind of a different style of play for them as well because they're not playing with a natural striker either. So it's a different kind of system that they've deployed. Also, I would say a lot of the team members are chipping in with the goals, so it's not necessarily on Sterling's back or Jesus' back or Kevin De Bruyne is back. I mean,
you don't need to rely on a striker. Like they can throw a false nine in or a midfielder in, and they just fluently move around like a conveyor. It's crazy.
And then it's mad, even with Laporte and Diaz, we even seen it yesterday in the Carabao Cup final. I mean, they constantly chip in with goals when needed. You know what I mean? It's because looking at that Carabao Cup final yesterday, it looked like neither team was interested in scoring. And then Laporte just pops up with a free header, Sissoko leaving them in the box free. Boom, 1-0, game over. Spurs never coming back from that. You know what I mean? Because they hadn't got the heart for it. So I'm just wondering. I don't know. For me, I can't see by PSG in this. I think they've too much talent. I think their talent exceeds Man City in terms of quality, and I think they are singularly focused on winning the Champions League this year. I know that the French league is kind of a walk in the park at times, But I think this year they've really focused on the Champions League. I think they felt themselves internally last year that they had let themselves down in terms of the final. They kind of didn't really show up for the final, and kind of got
They weren't
bullied.
competitive in that final. They weren't what they could have been. They didn't leave everything out. They weren't, on the competitive. I think they know that though themselves.
Yeah, they got bullied in the game, for lack of a better word. And I think this year they're out to prove a point. And I find it hard to see anything other than PSG going through. But again, it is Man City, but it will be interesting to see how Pep approaches this. And obviously Pep versus Poch is a mouth-watering sort of battle as well, you know what I mean? Like all the history and the Prem and stuff with both of them,
Yeah.
So
And
that
Poch has been there with Spurs as well. Don't forget in the Champions League final. He's gone the route himself.
yeah, he's
So
been there.
they probably trust him, as in he knows what he's doing. He's gotten there.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on to the other one.
Yeah. Oh Jesus. Oh God.
Real Madrid versus Chelsea. Again, this is a kind of it's a mouth-watering one again. Tuchel versus Zidane. Plenty of history there in this tournament about these boys going up against each other. I mean, Tuchel, again, he's gone in and he's done a fantastic job at Chelsea. I mean, he literally brought in all the players back, gave everyone a fair shout. A lot of players, the likes of Alonso and players like that were out in the cold, have suddenly come back, and they've done a real good job for him. And like defensively wise, very, very. If you take aside the West Brom game, obviously, which was just a freaky game, but defensively wise, they've been very solid. Up front, it's been kind of workman-like without hitting the highs that it should hit with the talent that they have. But I mean, if that talent is going to come alive, there's no better stage than the semi-final of a Champions League versus Real Madrid. I presume Real Madrid are going to welcome back Ramos and Varane. They're going to have all the big guns back for this one. So I suppose looking at the two quarterfinals against Liverpool, where they were missing a number of players, it's hard to judge what kind of Real Madrid you're going to get.
Yeah.
What you thinking on this one?
Rightly so, what you said, Niall. It's not like it's going to be a copy and paste job about, it's Real Madrid going out with an under-strength team, and will Chelsea make them suffer the way we didn't? Will they put them pressure on them high like we didn't in the first leg? We lost that in the first leg. There's no doubt about it. Real Madrid could be a different beast altogether in this game. It could be a transformed Real Madrid, after going through what they've gone through with the under-strength team to get past us. Imagine the lift you get from that alone, being in the semi-final, and then welcoming back the likes. Imagine Ramos coming back into the dressing room. Like, even seeing him, I'm sure his presence alone, like the impact he has on that team and that club.
Yeah.
If he's gonna be leading a talk over anyone else, you're gonna be like, right, you know what I mean? We can actually do this. Chelsea, have to give it to them. Look how they handled Atletico Madrid. That's a very tricky tie in itself. Went about both legs, very good. You have to be very patient with Atletico. As you saw watching the game, they sit back in numbers, they frustrate the life out of you. But Chelsea just were resilient and didn't, here we'll bring a few lads forward and go for it. You have to be clever with a Simeone side. I think it's a very hard one to call, to be completely honest, because I think Chelsea will be resilient and without having that attacking threat. Yeah, but here it is to say, like, what if Havertz or Werner scored a winner? They'll be forgotten. In the semis or whatever. That sets you up, doesn't it?
Yeah, and in fairness to Chelsea at the moment, I mean, they're front four guys, if you like. I mean, the likes of Havertz, Werner, Pulisic, Ziyech. They're all coming back to form. They're all starting to find their way now, right at the right time in the season. I mean, Havertz there a week or two ago was outstanding. The two goals in Pulisic were unbelievable. Ziyech, I mean, they're starting to find their form just at the right time. And even if you look at those two ties against Atletico, it was like Tuchel did to Atletico what we would expect Atletico to have done to Chelsea. So he absolutely reversed it on them in his resilience and stuff like that. And I just look at Chelsea at the moment. There's a resilience there at the back.
That's like the trust and the shape and the organization, like Zuma, Rudiger, but it's a cohesion. It's a cohesive unit.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be very tough. I think if Chelsea score first, I think they'd fancy themselves to defend the lead, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and especially if they grab an away goal. But
Yeah,
it's just, I mean, we've kind of said it all season really about Chelsea. If you park the Lampard there, but since Tuchel came in, we've said like he has all the talent there in terms of success. And it's a case of he has to figure out how to get that link between the midfield and the front line and get that humming and get those guys humming. He's buckets of talent there up front. I mean, even the likes of Giroud could have a huge part to play in this, because the likes of Giroud, in there being a nuisance to Varane and to Ramos, creates
great
that
experience as
turmoil,
well.
creates that craziness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just think if he can get some of those guys clicking up front, the likes of Havertz and Pulisic and guys like that, they're a mouth-watering prospect who are capable of beating
I
anyone.
think what he's done really well though as well is when he took Havertz and Werner sometimes completely out, not even on the bench. It was like a protection from the manager, which was really good.
Yeah,
Instead of just kind of saying, "I hear I'm just spending this amount of money on you. You better bleed and
yeah,
score, like stay up there." But taking them out of firing line, probably putting his arm around them and saying, "Look, you're only new in the country. Just work on your training, work on your fitness, your
yeah,
sharpness."
yeah,
And then probably comes in and saying, "Look, you're starting today. I trust you. I believe in you." Seems to have worked with Havertz already when he came in and had an absolute stormer that time against Palace, wasn't
yeah,
it? But then he takes him back out again. I think it's kind of just to let him know, like I'll manage it
yeah.
properly.
Yeah, it's like
Look at Fabinho. When we had Fabinho, didn't throw him exactly, or Robertson even as such. Look how long it took to get
yeah,
them going.
yeah. I think it's really it's a management style with those coaches, isn't it? Really, that they manage kind of your confidence in a way that it's like you can come in, have a really good game, and then it's like sort of, we'll sit back for a minute and dwell on that. Your confidence is now high. We don't want you going in and presenting a bad performance and your confidence
No,
going again.
yeah,
So we'll bring you back in at the right time to keep that flow of confidence going. And certainly with Werner, you can see with Werner and Havertz, they really are two players who have struggled to adjust to the Premier League. But you can see that they are confidence players. So when their confidence is really good, they're not naturally insofar as, you're not just going to get suddenly where there's a jump there. It's going to have to be a progression of confidence to get them back where you need them to be. And Tuchel is outstanding at managing that process, really, especially with Werner. I mean, you look at Werner this season, his confidence was shot to bits, like, you know what I
yeah.
mean? So as you said, it was key to take him out and let him reassess where he was, bring him back in. He's had a number of good games there where he's picking up assists and stuff like that, maybe not necessarily scoring, and then he's scoring a couple of goals. So his confidence is starting to build again, and Tuchel is just managing that progress all the time.
And imagine next season with a full camp
Yeah,
with all of them, as in like a full preseason, a full camp, to get everything together.
yeah,
I think he's there. He's definitely like like nearly like a father figure
mm,
outside of the match day. I'm sure like he
yeah,
has an individual relationship with each of the lads as well, and especially coming in and saying no one is like out of the team. That was probably the best kind of card to play.
yeah.
Going to lads who we thought were probably going to leave in January there. Like yous are all part of the team. Every place is up for grabs.
Yeah, well, you think his first 2 months there, like, the likes of Alonso and Jorginho and Aspilicueta, I mean, those players were all fundamental to his success. And
Yeah,
these were a lot of the lads who were out in the cold, like the forgotten sons, if you like, you know what I mean? Alonso came in, did a great job for him. Jorginho came in into the middle of the park, was outstanding. Aspa was rejuvenated again. And people were thinking his career was done. Now he's like a new player. You seen him even there the other day where he's racing up the line and he's getting stuck into a lad to make sure that win, or whatever it is, comes home. You know what I mean? And no
what I
problem
love
getting stuck into lads.
when Werner missed a weekend, you see Tuchel's disappointment that he's missed. But I'd say that at the same time, he's disappointed because he knows he shouldn't miss. As in, he's not publicly putting them down, but he's like, I know what he can do, and I
Yeah,
will make sure that he will get the chances and score. It's kind of like
yeah,
like a father figure. Like if he misses a shot, or like it's not more like, publicly humiliating them, saying, how did he
Yeah,
bleed and this, that. Like,
yeah. And I
I
mean,
think he's vital.
I mean, obviously these guys in training look world class as well. I mean, they're probably outstanding. I mean, Werner's probably banging in 50, 60 goals in a training session, you know. And it's just when he gets to the match, whatever's happening because of confidence or other issues, he just can't seem to click it together. But you can see it's there. I mean, you can see by his runs and you can see by his thinking on the pitch that he has an idea of what he wants to do, but he just can't get it to sort of click at the moment, you know?
Ziyech as well looks more of the player we thought he was going to be, with the fitness now that's coming back in.
Yeah.
I don't know if he had a COVID issue as well back, like Havertz had one before, and now it's kind of just getting a bit of rhythm going together.
Yeah.
But I think Tuchel is fundamental to success and to their confidence and their man management as well.
Yeah, and it's also you know, a judgment on Tuchel as well, that he came into the Premier League not a problem and hit the ground running straight away. So there was no adjustment even from his point of view, in terms of he just went in, clean sheet at Chelsea. You all have a chance to prove yourself. Get out there when you get an opportunity. They're all getting an opportunity now. They're all playing really well at a high level, you know, and he, like, you know, it feels like he's been managing in the Premier League for the last 10 years. There's been no adjustment from his point of view, you know.
And I think what you said, Noel, was spot on. They can be lackluster and get the win still. It doesn't have to be all going smoothly to get the wins. You can be lackluster. That's a making of a champion in itself. Like,
Yeah.
and you be have an off day and, smash and grab. Maybe next season they could be a serious threat.
I definitely think they will be. And if I'm hearing what I'm hearing at the moment, it looks like Roman's going to back him as well. It looks like they might potentially land Varane, who's going to be playing against them this week. So that should be interesting, because United were in for Varane, but apparently the chosen move is potentially Chelsea, from what I'm hearing in the last couple of days. So
no offense to Ollie, and nothing about United or Chelsea, but you imagine Tuchel coming in and having a chat with you. That would probably sell itself. No offense to Ollie, but you know what I mean?
yeah.
Coming across, I'd say Tuchel would probably like, no, I'll speak to him myself. And he'd probably get that vibe off him that, like, yeah, this fella's serious. Like, he wants to win everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Plus you're also looking at Chelsea as well there. Like, you know, there's plenty of financing available. It's not a problem. You also know that you're right in the heart of London as well, so it's not a problem. You know, it's much more appealing. You know what I mean? And then again, as you said, the pedigree of managers. You know, you look at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who has done a very good job at United up till this point, but then you look at the likes of Tuchel, and Tuchel is in that Tuchel, Klopp, Pep, Poch, you know, this kind of bracket. You know what I mean? It's the draw value of playing for someone like a Tuchel or a Klopp or a Pep, or or a Zidane, or those type of players. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be a difficult one to move to an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, if you like. And that's no disrespect to Solskjaer, because, you know, he's done with what he's had to do. I mean, there's a project there at United, and he's been fundamental to that project, really, and trying to rebuild the culture and change things and stuff like that, and has done a real good job on that.
He has done well with what he has to work with. Like, he has.
Yeah. And I think the United fan base will be honest enough themselves in turning around and saying that they don't see Solskjaer being the man to lead United to a Champions League win, or even potentially a Premier League win. You know what I mean? They have spent money, and the players have been outstanding that they've brought in. I mean, Maguire was a little bit iffy, but has seemed to have found himself over the last few months. Bruno Fernandes has been an absolute revelation. Pogba obviously needs to be sorted out. Tellez hasn't really got a run on the team, but when he has, he's done pretty well. Wan-Bissaka's done well. So, like, they have made some shrewd purchases.
Cavani's been immense.
Cavani's been immense, but whether he'll stay or whether he'll go, who knows? You know what I mean? Rashford's had a difficult season, even though he's done well and his stats stack up. But I mean, he's been carrying injuries and stuff like that. So again, it's whether you have that kind of draw value. And I don't think Manchester United, being the club that it is and one of the richest and biggest clubs in the world, stuff like that, all the clubs are kind of at that level now. So you don't normally look at the Premier League, and Man United now sticks out, because Liverpool now sticks out, Chelsea sticks out, Tottenham sticks out, Arsenal sticks out, City, they all stick out. So you have a choice of 5 or 6 teams there, in terms of where you could go to, and it'd still be a good move.
You think we're looking at PSG Chelsea final, possibly?
That's what you're thinking. That's what you're going with.
That's what my gut feeling is.
Yeah.
I think PSG, want to earn the right to get back there, and like what Milan did to us. or what
Yeah.
we did more recently, as
Yeah.
in we could have done more. Let's go back and actually sort that out. I think that's PSG's formula, and I can only see that happening with PSG. I think Man City will fall a tiny bit short again.
Yeah.
On the other side of the coin, it's a difficult one with Real Madrid. You can't judge them on the previous. I think Chelsea might have enough. I think an away goal will be crucial, but I can see them getting it, to be honest.
Yeah, I look at the Madrid Chelsea one, and I think it'll be a very tight affair. I don't think there'll be much in it. You know what I
It
mean?
could be a smash and grab. It could be a 1-0.
Yeah.
Take back to the bridge.
With PSG, I would expect a lot more goals because they both play kind of a very open style of play. But I'd be happy enough if I seen a City Chelsea final now, Pep versus Tuchel. That'd
That'd
be
be interesting.
interesting, you know what I mean? So but I can't see past PSG at the moment in terms of winning the tournament or winning the competition. You know what I mean? So that's my flag is nailed to PSG in terms of going to win it. But I'm not too upset at all to be honest. You know what I mean? I think Chelsea have done really, really well this year in the face of upheaval and a very hard start to the season. I
Yeah.
think going into the new season, as you said, if they have a full pre-season with Tuchel there full time, new signings coming in the summer to refresh things again, and if he has a full season there with that kind of form, they'll definitely be challenging against City next season. And pending on what Liverpool does as well, who knows? We could have a real good Premier League race next season without a shadow of a doubt. So you're going for Chelsea
Yeah.
PSG final.
I'm gonna go PSG. I'm gonna go PSG to win it. I just feel so similar to ourselves. It's not a coincidence when things happening. It's more like Jesus. We could be in a lot better. Let's sort that out. And I feel that's their mentality going into this.
Hmm.
Like, not many people can put it up the Bayern like that. Lewandowski or not, it's still Bayern. They're still a super team. But
Yeah,
PSG, you just kind of felt that they had us to hold it, and then now look at we need to get back here and do ourselves justice,
yeah,
and finally get over the line. I honestly do think it's their time to do it, especially Mbappe, Neymar. Once he's cool, calm, collected, and focusing on his performances, he's untouchable.
yeah.
I think it could be the send off for Mbappe. It could be the way to go to bow out with PSG if he does move on.
Yeah, it'd be also nice for Poch as well, who came so close against us. You know what I mean? What he did with that Spurs team is outstanding. So I wouldn't be too upset about that. With PSG, you do kind of feel it's probably their last opportunity because there is a number of rumblings of players there leaving and stuff like that. If Mbappe goes, depending on who they replace him with. But I mean, how do you replace a player like Kylian Mbappe? You know what I mean? And then
Could be a ripple effect.
yeah, and then is Neymar going to want to stay there? Is he going to want to move? He kind of gets a bit itchy after a while and starts looking at different options. Who knows? You know what I mean? So yeah, for PSG, they're probably looking at this as well and saying, yeah, well, this is our real opportunity. And obviously, I mean, going into a transfer window and a Euros and all that kind of stuff. I mean, for the likes of Mbappe and players like that, even Varane. I mean, if Varane goes on and helps to knock Chelsea out of it and goes on to win the tournament, I mean, you're throwing another 10, maybe 15 million on his valuation potentially in terms of going. So it's an interesting time for these players, but there's no doubt over the last week or two in terms of fixtures they've played, they've kind of they've protected them. Yeah,
Yeah.
they've protected themselves through it because the prize really is the Champions League.
If you're a Chelsea fan, you should be so happy though with the turnaround of your season, regardless if you get knocked out by Madrid or you're losing the final, because no one can turn around and say the way it was going. The turnaround has been immense, League and Champions League.
Yeah,
So I think they should be really, take that with a grain of salt and run with that next season, regardless. So we should be really happy, I
yeah,
think, with the strong end to
yeah.
the season, regardless.
Yeah, and I think even if you look at the first half of the season, I mean, I don't think anyone doubted the talent that they had, and I don't
Just
think
squeezing
anyone doubted
it.
the fact that these boys were going to need time to fit in as well. I mean, when you bring in that amount of signings all in one window, it's going to take time to figure out how things go, and that coupled with a little bit of naivety from Frank Lampard at times in terms of substitutions. I mean, he was a bit naive, and he cost Chelsea a number of points this season as well. So he was kind of unlucky as well in the way it went out. He was given the opportunity, he was thrown in at the deep end, but when you're bringing in nearly half a starting 11 as new signings, and you don't have that kind of experience, will catch up with you, whereas you see Tuchel goes in there and he goes, I don't care who you brought in. This is a blank slate now. All these players have an opportunity. Has no problem putting 50, 60, 70 million pound players on a bench, or as you said, taking them out of the match day squad. His man management
To
is
benefit them,
top notch. Yeah. But we look forward to it. It's coming up this week, another festival of football. We can put the ESL behind us now. We don't have to worry about a lot of that rumblings at the moment. We can focus on football, albeit if you look at some of the results at the weekend, I mean, it was crazy, you know what I mean? It's like we haven't put it behind us. But nice to get back working on football and a nice week of football ahead of us.
It's refreshing to just talk about what we're looking forward to next week or this week coming. Yeah. Lovely. Let's focus on that and let's enjoy it and back to normality. Thank God.
Yeah, and you know yourself, when you get to the semi-final of the Champions League, it's the business end of it, you know what I mean? Yeah, serious quality on the pitch against each other and all, For all the giving out last week about the ESL and how Liverpool might be playing Barcelona 4 times a year and stuff like that. This is where we get romantic now, isn't it? Where we start to see the top players put up against each other.
This is like you're going to the final. No one remembers how they lost in the semi-final. No one cares about that. No one remembers that. Yeah, you go absolutely. This is your chance to get to the final. This is Istanbul. It's Istanbul or nothing now.
Yeah, and the holy grail of club football, the Champions League.
I wish.
Sure. We'll be there in spirit somehow. But yeah, thanks a million for coming on. Absolutely brilliant. This is your Champions League semi-final preview. The road to Istanbul continues this Tuesday and Wednesday without a shadow of a doubt. Hopefully the teams in the Premier League do well. We wish them luck because we're not bitter Liverpool fans. And we will talk to you again soon. As always, head over to YouTube, smash the subscribe and bell notification button. Dynamo Podcast Network, week in, week out with the upper tier. Also available on Anchor for the audio versions of the show. And we will chat to you again real soon. Thanks, Craig.
Cheers, man. Thanks.